The ability to use true magic is a rarity among mages, and those that gain such immense power are quite notable. Among them is arguably the most famed magus of all, Kiescher Zelrech Schweinorg, known for having attained the second magic, Kaleidoscope, which allows him to access parallel worlds. For his influence on the world and his deeds toward humanity, Zelrech is well regarded by both the Holy Church and the Mages Association. 200 years ago, when Japan is against the presence of foreigners on their land, the Tohsaka family, led by the mage Nagato Tohsaka, live as hidden Christians in the underground of Japanese society. Nagato himself serves as one of Zelrech's pupils, but is seen as the pupil with the least potential. Regardless, this tutelage is a valuable opportunity, and over the later generations, the Tohsaka become a very capable and influential mage lineage. Despite his lack of potential and rather distant relationship with Zelrech, Nagato is fundamentally good at heart, unlike his peers, and so Zelrech entrusts to him the design of the jeweled sword, which draws power from parallel universes. It becomes a generational goal of the family to one day produce the sword for actual use. Thus, the Tohsaka build their strength upon the mastery of jewel magecraft, a practice of thaumaturgy that involves storing mana into rare, ancient jewels that spend years in contact with nature spirits. The mana contained within these jewels becomes tinted by the type of jewelry used, and in turn, can be invoked to perform different spells. It is a very powerful style of magecraft, capable of instantly casting high-level spells, but it comes at a high cost, requiring great wealth to procure the necessary jewels. The same magecraft is also practiced by a rival mage family, the Edelfelt, but unlike the lavish fortunes possessed by the Edelfelt family, the Tohsaka are in a constant financial struggle. Nagato believes that magecraft is best practiced in tandem with martial arts, so mages of the family also master a style of Chinese Kenpo. Through their rivalry with the Edelfelt family, Tohsaka mages also incorporate Gando curses into their repertoire. For their prominence, Nagato and his daughter take part in the creation of the Heaven's Feel ritual, an attempt to reclaim the third true magic the Einsburn family had lost. In this endeavor, the Tohsaka family offers the sacred land of Fuyuki, Japan, to serve as the ritual's location. There, underneath Mount Enzo, the Einsburns construct a complex, highly elaborate spell, the Greater Grail, with their own homunculi at its core. While it is intended as a ritual to help mages reach Akasha, the root of all existence, a fundamental flaw in its design prevents this, turning the ritual into a bloody competition to obtain and use the gathered mana to grant the winner's desires. This is the birth of the Holy Grail War. Generations later, during the Third Holy Grail War, the rivalry between the Edelfelt and Tohsaka families is further strained when the younger of two Edelfelt sisters is defeated by the Tohsaka's current head. Unknowingly, during this war, the Greater Grail becomes corrupted by the Avenger servant Angra Mainyu. By the time of the Fourth Holy Grail War, the Tohsaka family has reached its 6th generation when Tokiomi and Aoi produce 2 daughters, Rin and Sakura. As the 2 girls are too young to participate, it is Tokiomi himself who is chosen to participate in the war. Before that, however, he is forced to make a choice regarding his children. A mage family only passes down its teachings and magic crest to one heir, so Tokiomi decides to make Rin his heir and have Sakura adopted into the Mato family, who are in need of a strong mage to continue their legacy. From his perspective, disowning Sakura so she too can become a magus is the best choice he can make as a loving father. To him, one's entire purpose for living is to perfect their craft and reach the root. While his wife, Aoi, is devastated by this decision, she ultimately accepts his reasoning. It seems cruel at first glance, but Tokiomi truly cares for Sakura in his own way. Rin possesses affinity for all 5 elements, making her more suited to formal training. He fears that the daughter he doesn't train will be coveted by those wishing to exploit her, so having the Matos develop her potential can actually keep her safe. As for the sisters growing up to one day face each other in a Holy Grail war, He sees this as a legendary and proud opportunity for them both. In the years leading up to the Fourth War, Tokiomi serves as a strict yet passionate teacher for Rin, encouraging her to set aside her own personal desires in favor of mastering her talents. Rin comes to admire her father and does her best to behave as a proper child in both magecraft and schoolwork. Thus, she suppresses her fiery tomboyish nature and instead projects a refined smile toward others. When sifting through books in the Tohsaka Manor's basement workshop, Rin unleashes a violent grimoire too strong for her to handle. In order to protect her, Tokiomi gives Rin a mage's compass that alerts her to heavy concentrations of mana and tells her to retreat if she encounters a strong reaction. As Tokiomi prepares for the war, Rin and his mother move out of the city, where she meets Tokiomi's pupil and partner in the war, Kirei Kotomine. At first sight, Rin admits a strong disdain toward the priest, fearing he is taking her father from her. With her father gone and the war underway, Rin notices her fellow students disappearing by the day. With some bravery, she investigates the missing children and discovers that they are being taken away by a suspicious predator, Ryunosuke Uryu. Due to her talent as a magus and the training she received from her father, she is able to resist and even destroy the enchanted bracelet Ryunosuke was using to abduct her classmates. While this rescue proves to be overwhelming for her, it embodies the bravery and independence her father inspired in her. This autonomy and personal strength prove to be valuable for Rin, as her life is torn asunder by the Fourth Grail War. Beyond her knowledge, Tokiomi is betrayed, stabbed in the back by Kirei Kotomine, and her mother is strangled in a maddening rage by Kari Amato. Thus, Rin is forced to attend her own father's funeral whilst caring for her mentally and physically debilitated mother. There, ironically, Kirei gives Tokiomi's sermon and gifts to Rin the very same Azoth dagger he used to murder her father. While Aoi survives the war, she dies shortly after, leaving Rin to be the only living member of the family. Again, ironically, she is entrusted to Kirei as her guardian, despite their toxic relationship. As Rin is not of age, Kirei temporarily takes ownership of the Tohsaka's land and estate, which he mismanages, losing most of its profitable assets. Tokiomi's untimely death causes Rin to grow up without fully inheriting her father's cold-hearted dedication to magecraft, as well as his ultimate goal of reaching the root. Instead, she maintains a sense of human compassion her father lacked. 10 years pass after the Fourth Grail War, and a new Holy Grail War is beginning. Rin hears of this and decides to participate as a magus, not because she seeks the Grail for her own desires, but because it is a chance for her to prove herself as a magus and uphold her family's reputation. She prepares to summon her own servant, doing her best to try and obtain a saber-class servant, thought to be inherently superior to the others. She searches the manor's basement for a catalyst, but only finds a red jewel pendant left to her by her father. Rin mistimes the summoning and undesirably summons an archer servant. While she blames her own incompetence for the summoning, the outcome is inevitable due to the pendant. While scouting the city with her servant, Rin encounters the servant Lancer outside her school building at night. She has Archer battle Lancer, but their fight is interrupted when Lancer discovers their fight has been witnessed by a fellow student, Shiro Emiya. Shiro flees and is subsequently murdered in the school hallway by Lancer. Rin turns to see the boy's face and immediately recognizes him. Ever since Rin was separated from Sakura, she had silently watched over her sister, feeling guilt for not rescuing her from the Mato family. Rin knew that Sakura was fond of Shiro, and he gave her a reason to live. Rin herself treasured an early memory of watching Shiro practicing the high jump as the sun set. Of all the people who could have died that day, she'd hoped it wouldn't be him. Yet, Rin is able to save Shiro by invoking the mana stored in a red pendant. She heals his wounds, leaving behind the pendant, an act that seals her fate. Shiro becomes a master in the Grail War and, out of pity and mercy, Rin teaches him the basics despite her disgust for his father Kiritsugu and his negligence as a mage. Archer pressures her on this, insisting she instead treat Shiro as a rival master. an enemy. Torn between her guilt and ambition, Rin notices Shiro acting irresponsibly as a master and decides to target him after school. She chases him down by channeling mana into her limbs and enhancing her physical abilities. Before they can settle things, however, their battle is interrupted by the presence of another servant, Ryder. To deal with this new threat, Rin proposes a temporary alliance with Shiro, and the two work together as a team. Because Rin never fully adopted her father's mage mentality, she struggles during the war when it comes to taking the initiative and obliterating her foes. Even after Shiro has his saber servant stolen, Rin still takes pity on him. Archer continually warns her of this, and she too worries about her hesitation. Before she can address the issue, however, Archer strikes a deal with the caster servant Medea, agreeing to become one of her servants, betraying the contract he has with Rin. In a single moment, Rin is put in the same situation as Shiro. The two support each other and seek help from their earlier opponent, Lancer. With his aid, Rin and Shiro are able to confront Caster and her master Kuzuki. As it turns out, this is all according to Archer's plan, taking this chance to double-cross Medea and Kuzuki by slaughtering them in a rain of swords. Archer finally reveals his true identity as heroic spirit Emiya. In other words, a version of Shiro from the future who eventually makes a contract with the planet to become a counter-guardian. Archer regrets that decision and hopes to revoke it by murdering his past self. The very pendant Rin used to save Shiro became the catalyst she used to summon his future self. In self-defense, Rin forms a new contract with Shiro's original servant, Saber, and forces Archer to unveil his noble phantasm, Unlimited Blade Works. Ultimately, Archer, no longer with the Master, can only stay manifested in the modern era with his independent action skill for a brief time. He decides to kidnap Rin and use her as bait to force Shiro into a duel at the Einsburn Castle. While Shiro confronts himself in a battle of ideals, Rin finds herself tied to a chair in the Einsburn attic, where Sakura's brother Shinji Mato sexually assaults her. She is saved by Lancer, who has taken a liking to her and demonstrates his chivalry. Unfortunately, this becomes an issue when Rin learns that Lancer's master is Kirei Kotomine, who is supposed to be supervising the war, not fighting in it. It becomes clear that Kirei was the one who murdered her father, and he intends to punish Lancer for refusing to kill her. Heroically, however, Lancer survives being impaled by his own spear, long enough to take revenge on Kirei and free Rin from bondage. By the war's end, Rin, Shiro, and Saber know of the Greater Grail's corruption and face Gilgamesh as their final opponent. Their only hope of countering Gilgamesh's Gate of Babylon is to utilize Shiro's ability to project his own version of Unlimited Blade Works, but the mana required to do so is tremendous. To ensure Shiro has enough mana for the fight, Rin transfers mana to him in an intimate ritual. During Shiro's fight with Gilgamesh, Rin is tasked with extracting Shinji from the mutated Grail's core and having Saber destroy the Grail with her noble phantasm, Excalibur. With help from a now reformed Archer, their plan is a success. Gilgamesh is defeated, and the Grail is no more. Rin parts with Archer, who has renewed his conviction to be a hero. With the Grail War over, Rin and Shiro consider their future. Rin plans to study as a mage at the Clock Tower and invites Shiro along as her apprentice. The two embrace this future together as a loving and supportive couple. Rin studies in London, accompanied by Shiro, and continues the long-running family rivalry with the Edelfelt family by competing against Luvia Gelita Edelfelt. The association recognizes Rin's talents, and she is able to study underneath Lord Elmalloy II. She and her teacher return to Fuyuki and disassemble the Greater Grail system in Mount Enzo, putting an end to the Holy Grail Wars. When her studies are completed, Rin promises to then accompany Shiro in his pursuit of becoming a hero of justice. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then go check out some of my other lore videos. It's my goal to make one of these for virtually every servant in the Nasuverse. and I would appreciate your support through that journey. The best way would be to become a patron of the channel. We offer different reward tiers, ranging from early access to the chance to suggest your very own video. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to OtakuDaiKun for more anime lists, reviews, discussions, lore videos, let's plays, and the holy waifu wars. Until next time, celebrate your fandom.